Who the fuck is this? Smarty! Smarty, where's the remote? Never mind, Smarty, I'm a putt. Where's the sand all over it, though? Now the button.
Oh, hey!
Oh,
hey! Whoa!
Hey!
Hey! One back one.
Oh,
What's going on? Over here.
Hey,
dude.
Hey.
So,
Uncle.
can you see us?
Can you see us?
Can you see us?
See
Hey,
us.
old dude
Do you
over
see
there.
the fear?
Hey.
I can hear you.
That I wear?
I can hear you.
Oh, damn, he can hear us. Finally.
Yeesh.
You guys didn't happen to be, I don't know, fucking ticking off with the big satellite dish out in the back 40 in the timeline, were you?
What?
Our timeline?
Maybe.
Where are you? We're at a different
I
time?
was trying to
Which
adjust it so
timeline?
that we could get Game of Thrones.
We're
It's coming out, yeah.
It's coming
Game
up.
of Thrones
We
is kind of
definitely
important.
have to make
man.
sure our signal's correct.
3
for that.
1-hour
I'm gonna
episodes.
kill
Who's going to
someone.
die? Everyone's going to die, probably,
Torment
right?
is dead.
Everyone's dead.
Torment's dead.
Torm is not dead yet.
See, messing with shit you shouldn't have. How many seasons before you guys learned to leave well enough alone? Alright? You must have tripped the sensor on the Ultra Mega 10K HD satellite, got your dumb asses sucked into the TV verse.
The TV verse.
What?
Are you happy now? I have literally no idea how this fucking TV works.
No, I'm not.
Well, neither do we. That's why we're trapped in it. That's why we're trying to... work
TV and
this out.
satellite broadcast is black magic.
Ooh.
What?
Well, I can
TV
see
and
that.
satellite broadcast is black magic.
He must be watching Fox. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
I do enjoy Fox News.
Oh, no, you do
You
not.
would.
choose
I
the
know,
Fox
George,
News.
I enjoy it. I
Do
didn't
not
say I
put-
watched
if you put
it.
me on Sean
Why?
Hannity, I'm attacking
You
you.
poked the proverbial bear on this one, you fucking bastards. You guys might be trapped. I might be fucking stuck watching you sorry sons of bitches forever. No offense, Angela.
Thank you.
I'd rather be a ghost on a goddamn volcanic island musical drama than be in this situation right now.
Been there.
You know, I like to watch some fucked up shit. Get ready for a ride, losers.
What's even...
Wait,
I don't
you
understand.
just walked in and we're in this TV and you
Why
already
are you-
know what's going on? What do you mean?
Yeah, so did you plan
antagonistic.
this out? Is this like something you did? How do you know that we're in a timeline and trapped? And how, is this our reality now? What's
What
going
is
on?
this? What happens to us?
Why did you come at us so antagonistic off the bat, dude? We're trapped in the
Hey, Uncle, thanks for putting me in the will. Sick fuck.
What is this a real world, or do we die here and then we actually die, or we could do another series or TV show? I mean, what's going on?
There's nothing more for us to do. We die here.
No, I don't know. You guys, there's like 1,000 other Angelas that are gonna ask about where I am, what's going on. They're totally gonna notice my absence. Absolutely.
Really?
Are you the
Yes.
prime Angela?
Are you like the Prime Angela? Yeah, is this like a team effort going on?
Angela Prime.
What about me? Thank you. Would not show that I'm the prime Angela.
All right, fair enough, that's true.
obviously.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
I'm the
definitely
one who's
survived way
always
more shit.
here.
That Robo Angela's
saving
pretty
your
dope,
asses.
though.
Robo Angela's a bitch.
Doesn't even get the lines right.
Steps all over other people.
Scene hog.
She's
What
a
I like
bully.
about her.
She's a bully, and I don't like her.
I
All right,
understand.
she's the worst parts of me. The other Angelas are absolutely going to step in and save us, and we're going to be fine.
That's what the Angelas do.
Yeah, but that's easy for you to say because there's a whole bunch of you. There's only one of each of us. So,
Exactly.
I mean,
She's
are they
always
just
so
going to save
confident.
you or are they going to save us?
We'll save everybody.
They seem very ambivalent
I'll
about
put your
us.
names on a list.
How long is the list?
It's probably a really long list. We're
Probably
probably
a long
way,
list.
way at the back.
Jesus Christ.
Mostly Angelas in front
Can
of
I get a +1? Wow, really spared no expense on these sound effects, I could tell. This Felix is really cranking out the cash on this, but getting the really highfalutin sound.
Laugh all you want, my little chickadees. This is going to be quite entertaining. Yes, I say chickadees. I'm an old man. And I'm a ghost. So fuck you, Angela. This is going to be quite no disrespect, entertaining for me. And quite harrowing for you, because tonight we're starting things off with a little light exorcism.
What? Just a little bit, just a smear of exorcism.
If it's just like a couple
dollop.
to get out You know, you just kind of like rinse it out. You know, you don't really need to.
I don't like to look at that.
The breeze just blows it out of the room.
Guys,
turn the fan on.
Look, there's a large hospital over there. Look at that thing. That thing's massive, man. It's like a warehouse.
Hospital.
Sanitarium.
So scary.
A lot of sick people over there.
There's no electricity, so there's no way there's like actual medical shit going on in there.
Okay, all right. It looks like we're being directed over here to this large hospital now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
go.
God damn it!
That's where the noises are coming from.
I know, but it just doesn't sound like a good
We got to
idea.
resolve the scene.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Who the hell is directing this thing anyway?
It ain't us.
Why do we always go towards chaos?
I don't know.
Why do we do this?
We got to go towards the boring.
We need to go
the
towards
church-
chicken joint and things like that.
I don't see a chicken joint though. This is really, really weird. So these barking dogs that I'm hearing that are really fucking freaking me out now.
You have dogs,
man.
Yeah.
That sounds more realistic.
Have you ever heard kind of like? No, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. It's too scary.
No, I really think you should. That's kind of like, it seems like a thing we would do.
The man trying to sound like a dog is more scary than an actual dog barking. Because
Thank you.
Yeah,
I've blasphemed in front of a dog and had it chastise me before.
Just recently.
Yeah, we all saw that.
It was creepy as hell.
Have you guys ever heard of George Lukens?
Not George Lucas.
George Lukens.
No.
Lukens?
Wait, did I
Lukensbach,
research
Texas.
the wrong guy?
No, you're supposed to be
the
talking
right
about the guy that created Star Wars.
Yeah, he was haunted by the ghost of.
The Ewoks.
Yeah, hold up.
They're making all that noise.
Let me pull up
And we
Wikipedia.
always remember the Ewoks were going to eat them.
Yeah, they
The
were.
Ewoks were going to freaking eat them.
Spoilers, dude! I told you that I've only been through 1.5 Star Wars movies, and no, I'm sorry, 2.2, I guess.
Two really good ones of the 9.
The one where he gets frozen in the
Carbonite.
tinfoil, and then
Carbonite.
and
Planet
then,
Hoth.
Tinfoil.
the one where he pops off on the floating spaceship, and where Princess Leia chokes out the slug.
All spaceships float.
The Dune spaceship when they're in Dune World.
Okay, first of all, that's a totally different story. The Dune is a totally different story. You're talking about the Sarlacc pit.
Okay, can I tell my story?
Does it involve spice?
No. George Lukens was a commoner in England who had a pretty strange trip. The story dates back to the 18th century. On a Saturday in May 1778, the Honorable Anglican Vicar of Temple Church, Reverend Joseph Easterbrook, had his first encounter with George Lukens after a traveler named Sarah Barber told him something was super fucky.
Oh,
and
okay.
so this is how these two met.
Okay,
All right.
Vickers probably hears some super fucky shit from time to time. Right?
Probably.
Like you're the vicar.
Yeah, especially if there's one in a town of like
somebody's gonna be
200
like, dude,
people.
I got to see the vicar. Something weird
Got
happened.
some really fucking stuff.
Some fucky shit just went down.
Really fucky stuff
Where's
I need
the
to
vicar?
discuss.
Some fucky duck.
The vicar's like, well, God loves all of his children, but how fucking we talking? Purely for the sake of comedic transparency, we will now refer to the vicar as Joey.
Joey the Vicar.
Okay.
George Lukens is now going to be Georgie Boy.
George
All
boy.
right.
And Sarah Barber will be thusly referred to as the footnote in history only afforded to the types of women who truly call for challenging about-face and metaphysical challenges of religion, ideology, ultimately bringing into the new world a vastly different point of view. Traveling lady. It's a
Damn, you
traveling
got
lady.
deep on that one.
Yeah.
This is Joey.
Is it Sarah with an H?
Yeah. With Georgie Boy.
Sarah.
Traveling lady approaches Joey and says he should really check on old Georgie Boy. Quote, he's in a bad way, barking like a dog, as it were, unquote. I made that up. I don't know if that's quoted.
That's probably how
Sorry.
it went down.
As it were, sounds like the way they would put that.
Yeah,
So,
I believe it.
he's a common carrier, all of that kind of shit. By the way, do you know what a common carrier is?
Do not.
Like when it comes to a disease? Or
Oh, yeah, that would be, what's it called? Infection by vector, like a mosquito.
Right.
Is it an airline ticket you get?
A common carrier ticket on an airline. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought all of those things too, but
Sure.
literally it's a blue-collared worker back then. So like a
common carrier.
smithy, whatever, common carrier.
Like a dude you could yell at if you were a nobleman.
Literally, yeah, Kaz just nailed it. Common.
If you just had a bad day, you could just take
Get
it out
over
on
here.
them. Yeah.
Give me some
All
fucking
right.
meat or whatever
So it's
we
a
drink out
retail
here.
worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone you can just take out all your frustrations on.
Hold the jeans.
Are there people that just do that?
Yeah.
There's people that just like, man, I'm just going to go to a retail store and just rip on someone's
I need
ass.
to
That's
speak
it.
to someone's manager. That's like the whatever.
You get the
1800.
haircut and you go.
Yep. Can I speak to your boss haircut? So, traveling lady say black magic cursed Georgie boy, quote, in which he sang and screamed in various sounds, some of which did not resemble a human voice, and declared doctors could do him no service, unquote. That is an actual quote.
Oh.
But traveling lady say Georgie boy for nearly 2 decades had been acting off his rocker, a rocker having been invented the Wednesday previous. Joey.
You had fun writing this, didn't you?
Technology still unproven. A little wobbly. Might have thrown him.
Trendy.
Now, stick with me here. Joey said the lady say Georgie boy has been acting crazier and crazier ever since God bitch smacked his silly ass during a Christmas pageant. And that's an actual...
What?
That's an actual quote.
Bitch smacks his bitch.
Silly ass? Was silly ass in the quote?
No, but that's an actual thing that happens in this story. He said he was doing a pageant. I can only imagine. You're a grand old flag. And then he just felt a... and said,
Oh, man.
God smacked him.
Theater people are really, really critical.
Yeah, exactly.
Caught like a funky look from the crowd, and he was just like, I'm Dan.
He gets up.
God has smoked
Grand
me.
old flag.
He gets the hook and just gets pulled off stage.
So guess what happens? They lock Georgie boy up. 20 weeks go by. He's pronounced incurable by a surgeon for whatever the fuck reason. No records indicate the surgeon, a Dr. Smith, did any operating. But since this was the 18th century, who cares? The medical community said he was bewitched. Worth noting, first written evidence of the word schizophrenia is still over 100 years off.
Oh, damn.
Which is most likely the explainable demon in all of this, but exacerbating the sitch. Georgie boy says 7 demons inside him would gladly fuck up at least 7 clergymen.
Oh.
So get deep or fuck off, bitches. Like
What?
He has an army of demons inside of him.
He's Legion.
Yep. So Joey...
Some thug ass shit to say.
Joey gets the help of Reverend John Volton, asking if the good Reverend would, quote, agree to pray for Georgie boy, unquote. And again, I made that one up. Volton, quote, cried out before God, Lord, I am not fit for such a work, unquote. That's real. Volton later, he cucked out and made a Reverend John Wesley pray for Georgie boy instead. This guy had one job. They said, can you pray for one dude? And he said, oh, I don't know if I can.
He's barking like a dog.
I don't know if I
bewitched.
can.
Wow.
So he had a Reverend John Wesley pray for Georgie boy. The good Reverend John Wesley will henceforth be known as Johnny. The exorcism recounted in the Bristol Gazette said Georgie boy claimed he was the devil and did a lot of other things that could totally never be source cited. Like somehow, someone in the presence of the event duly noted Georgie boy, inverted an entire verse from a 4th century hymnal, and sang it.
Like backwards.
Backwards.
Oh.
How
Like,
well
now, phonically backwards or just word for word backwards?
Again.
And also, you got to be well versed in that this thing that he was claiming to know, that this man spit backwards, because I don't know that even my favorite songs, if they were repeated backwards to me, that I would be able to pick them out.
Yeah.
No, because you have a trivia bit about just saying lyrics and they don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, if you take a lyric that you've heard before and just if you say it in a different pattern and rhythm, it'll just completely lose it.
Just insane stuff. And also would do normal stuff, like just act violently. That these people were
Just
trying
normal
to...
ass shit.
Like acting violent.
Trying to take 7 souls out of this corpse. You know, just corpse waiting to happen, pretty much.
Pre-corpse.
So, Johnny
Aren't
and
we all?
Joey, nicely done. Johnny and Joey, again, they are the reverends, casted the 7 demons out of Georgie boy alone. Well, the 2 of them, because this is what I wrote.
Oh, God.
You're amusing the hell out of yourself, and I love it.
Apparently by reciting basic bitch religious stuff.
Nice. Perfect.
Religious
Like
taking
first year-
shots tonight, son.
Like first year
Damn.
seminary crap,
Wow.
just basic bitch
Basic
shit.
bitch religion shit.
Yeah, like, check it out.
Oh my gosh.
Look it
Do other priests front up at other priests when they're like, I got the deep, I mean,
I don't know.
Do you just drop a Bible and walk out?
Yeah. Johnny had something to say after the ceremonial debriding of the spirit. He said the account would be indebted to the modern era of skepticism, but then pointed to the scriptures and, quote, other authentic history, unquote, to further back what he, Johnny, would say was completely objectively and not subjectively, mind you, classic evidence of a demonic possession. At the time, a noted demonologist, a Dr. Ferriar,
I want to be a demonologist.
criticized the
Sounds
case.
so
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Criticized the case. fast-paced dick, though. He didn't feel as though Georgie Boy really suffered from a demonical episode, but rather maybe epilepsy or mental illness were to blame. Again, schizophrenia is 100 years off from even being diagnosed. Dr. Ferrier goes so far as to call him an imposter masquerading as a demoniac.
Demoniac.
Ooh, demoniac.
We opened for those guys in Tampa. They're really cool.
Yes.
You love every band you play
I was going to say he's never played with a band he doesn't like.
Are you kidding? I could tell you plenty of fucking bands I play with I don't like.
Pro.
I played with the Balloon Boys band. Okay,
Is that real?
Yes. Yes, the kid that was in the balloon that everybody watched on the network news. They thought he was in the balloon. He was just hiding up in the attic. Yeah, he had a band, and they opened for us, and they fucking sucked.
And they were called the Balloon Boy.
No, I can't remember their names.
Oh, God.
It's really on the nose.
Yeah, that was,
Really leaning on that.
and we didn't even know they were opening for us until we got to the gig. We go to the gig. I'm looking at the flyer. I'm looking at the flyer. Like,
are you the Balloon
Boy?
Boy?
Freaking Balloon Boy, dude.
How would you know?
How did you recognize him?
Because they played at a local club here a month previous that I just happened to be at.
Where was that from?
I want to make a Fall from Grace reference, but in opening up for Gargamel.
The lowest of the low.
Man.
There's nowhere to go from there.
Where do they live? Like, where was Bubble Boy?
Balloon Boy.
Balloon Boy.
Somewhere
Boy.
Midwest or something,
I
probably.
keep thinking Bubble Boy.
I think Bubble Boy, too.
Balloon Boy.
Just
Where
Jake
were
Bubble Boy
they?
is a sad story of a man with an immune disorder. Yeah.
John Travolta did a movie about
Yes,
it.
he did.
I thought it was Jake Gyllenhaal.
He did it, too.
And here we are.
And that was your Bubble Minute.
And here we are. Georgie Boy never ever did anything stupid forever after, okay? And the world is still skeptical of actual fact-based news to this day. So thank you so much, traveling lady, for everything.
So just from her account of what we've learned about 7 demons being, was that like one of the first?
I don't know. I think it's so funny how this person, Sarah Barber, said, "Hey, I don't know, check on this guy," and then he was just fucking tortured. It's like it goes into those religious stories of, well, I don't know, but she's a bitch. Let's kill her.
Yeah,
and always go and blame the woman.
Yeah.
Clearly performed some black magic on him. No, I think the real funny part to me on this is the fact that the medical community, quote unquote, diagnosed him. So somewhere on a piece of paper was written, "Bewitched."
Yeah, and
yeah,
also
that's true.
a surgeon.
That's tight as fuck. Exactly, like a surgeon was like,
whose job is to go into the skin and look at things
just
and
a
like,
barber.
I can't fix them.
You know
I
what?
don't know what it was.
Demons.
Gotta be demons. I
Yeah.
think you should do some cocaine about it.
Yeah.
He was doing some really, really crazy shit with 7 voices inside of his head. I'm just saying.
The fact that he
Wow.
could recite whatever Latin shit backwards is pretty tight. But
It's way tight.
and also
I'm
like his
impressed by that.
dog barking
Sounds like a dude.
sound effect probably was way better than the one that we heard earlier.
I don't know. It sounded okay, I guess.
So, all right, well, shit, that was kind of underwhelming a little bit.
Just a typical guy freaking out
Crazy
and everybody
guy.
saying he's got
Had
the
an
demons.
episode.
Yeah.
Right?
We've all been there. It sounds like
Been
me
in
on
a funk.
weekend.
Shit.
For sure. Panic attacks.
It's the moon. Moon madness, probably.
Mood madness is real.
it's because there was a super blood wolf
Super Wolfpack NWO moon that
And-
swooped down and broke up the entire wrestling federation.
Oh,
With
yeah.
their awesome elbows, their elbow drops. This hospital kind of sucks, right? Am I the only one that thinks
Yeah,
that?
I mean, it's dark and creepy, but I've been in creepier and I've been in darker. It's just kind of just like
It's in that middle ground, which is
Yeah.
kind of boring me, honestly.
it's just a
There's
hospital.
not even no Silent Hill shit going on. We're
Right, we
Yeah,
need that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
thing.
Felix, honestly, your fucking hellhole house is a lot scarier than this fucking
This is
bullshit
not
place.
even.
Yeah.
You've
How
done
are
better.
you
You've done
entertained by
better.
this?
Yeah, honestly, this one isn't grabbing me the way I expected to be grabbed tonight.
Oh.
And not in anything sexual. No offense,
Oh,
Angela.
excuse
Whoa,
us.
whoa,
Hey,
whoa.
maybe I want to be grabbed. What I want
Let's
to.
go. Let's go a
would
little
love to be
something
grabbed.
more. Hey, let's go something a little more rustic. All right.
Rustic. Oh, that's great.
Fucking
doesn't
beef
sound-
Wellington. Let's go cooking. Gordon
You
Ramsay.
can't make beef Wellington
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
Gordon Ramsay would not enjoy you.
No.
How about some beef Wellington?
That sounds okay.
I love
That
beef
sounds
Wellington.
good. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's get some beef Wellington.
How do I change this? How do I change it? How do I change the channel?
Okay, no. It's the button. It's the other button. It's the other button. Not the TV. It's the
Okay,
dimension
no, don't
button.
go
It's
over
not
the TV.
Not the off
What's it?
button. Not
If
the
you
off
hit
button.
input, I
Don't
don't
hit
know what's
reset.
going to happen.
Don't.
Oh, now I got picture in picture. Hold on.
What else are you watching? I can't even see.
We're all so tiny now. Hey!
You're the tiny one? Why would you relegate us to the tiny
I like
one?
him.
Little did the gang know that they had stumbled into one of the most dangerous times to be traipsing through rural Kansas, since interdimensional tornadoes were whisking girls and dogs into unspeakable terror. The year is 1872. The place, pay attention, rural Kansas.
I don't know why that made me laugh.
Well, I guess everything was rural back then for the most part. It was like rural, just damn rural everywhere. So it's just rural.
All right, we get it. We get where this is going. We understand, narrator, where you're going with this. It's fine.
Really rural.
I need everybody to keep your eyes peeled for some very suspicious people.
Suspicious how? Like, are they like, cloaks?
Creepy, weird.
Well, I feel really bad saying this in 2019, but watch out for people who can't speak English.
We built that damn wall.
And yet, in rural Kansas in 1872, they make it through. Sons of bitches.
Hi,
Oh, God.
urchin. You going out there. You don't know, here, get this now. Come on, you shouldn't have nothing. You going out there and get stupid engine. Get out here, boy. No, you ain't gonna have none of that no more. No, not gonna have none of that in here, man. You get out here.
What? I feel like I kind of want to just go get more of that. Like I know it's
I want to meet
ominous.
this dude, man. I want to get in this guy's life, man.
Holy shit!
I don't know what
that
this
was
guy's
the most
about.
spot on thing.
That man was literally right behind my ear, screaming loud nonsense. I picked up not a word of it.
I felt his feelings. I want to feel more of his
so
feelings.
intensely perfect.
You could really barely understand him, though, right?
Yeah, no, I
could though. It sounded like
Could
a family.
you?
It sounded like my family reunions, kind of, for some reason.
Man, I don't know. It sounded like
Deep Ocoee.
Deep Ocoee.
Ocoee.
Rural Ocoee.
That was the rural part of Ocoee.
I know what this is.
How
How
do you know who
that is? I don't even know what that is.
God.
To be honest.
encyclopedic knowledge.
To be
of fucking
honest, I don't know
Appalachia.
how either, but I am getting a little...
Are you
Getting a barking suspicion.
Does that guy sound
God.
like he's trying to bark?
George Lukens?
George Lucas, your story's over with.
Have you learned?
Hey, guys. I know what this is.
Of course you do.
This is the Bloody Benders. I know it.
Peaky Blinders?
Close.
But the Kansas version.
But the Kansas version.
Oh.
The Whiskey Blinders.
Nice.
Everything's always whiskey. So this story is like the Oregon Trail, but with one death for all that is brutal and bloody. And true, like the Donner Party, but more sinister and actually less efficient.
Jeez. Hell of a hell.
The Bender family consisted of 4 members: John Bender Sr., Elvira Bender, John Bender Jr., and Kate Bender. The rumors surrounding the Bender family were varied. John Sr. and Elvira had their children from previous marriages, so John Jr. and Kate were known to be stepbrother and sister. However, some whispers about town maybe speculated that they weren't their children, but a younger married couple who lived with John Sr. and Elvira.
Ooh.
Creepy already.
Yeah.
After the American Civil War, our country did a pretty embarrassing thing and relocated a bunch of Native Americans from the Osage tribe in Kansas to a new territory now known as Oklahoma. When this land was opened up in Kansas, it attracted a few spiritualist families. One of those families was the Bender family.
Like to live with these Native Americans?
Yes, as they said. John Bender Sr. was a man in his 60s when he and his son John Jr. purchased land in Labette County, Kansas. And this is about 7 miles northeast of Cherryvale. Really no one knows where any of this is. But anyway.
That's the closest thing.
Yeah.
700 miles for
So-
It was that close to Cherryvale?
nothing else.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I love that they have all the information. It's like really close to Cherryvale.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
fucking
where
asshole.
the hell is Cherryvale?
700 miles is really close.
7.
7,
Oh, I think he said 700.
7 miles.
7 miles.
Northeast of
That's why I was
Cherryvale.
confused.
Cherryvale is the fucking home of fucking...
Cherries.
Yeah. I actually looked it up, and it's like in between St. Louis, Missouri, and Austin, Texas. It's like in between a bunch of big cities.
In like the ass corner of Kansas.
It is in the southeast corner of Kansas.
The ass corner.
The
of
ass corner of
The
Kansas.
ruralest of the rural.
Kansas. So John Sr. and John Jr., they had purchased land in 1870, and they registered about 160 acres of land in the Great Osage Trail. So that was the trail, like the only known safe trail, like passage to the west at the time. So this was in 1870. So a cabin, a barn, and a corral and a well was built on the property in 1871. And that's about the time that Elvira and Kate kind of showed up. So it was just John Sr. and John Jr. And then all of a sudden Elvira and Kate showed up.
So he was a single dad?
Yes, and she was a single mother.
Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
The Bloody Bunch.
The Bloody Bunch. The Bloody Bunch.
I don't like this. Felix, change the channel.
You can't. You have to watch it.
It's riveting.
How do you know?
Wait a minute.
How do you get these rules? When you
I
got
don't know.
a
I
rule
just
book?
know them. So because of their house being on that trail, their home kind of operated like an inn. So people would pass through there. They had like a general store in front. You could like stay overnight. They would give you dinner.
Everything about this is fucking creeping me out.
Yeah,
like
there's
the
nothing
Hateful
else around them.
Yeah.
And it was, it was small. They had common areas, and then also there was like a whole 2-acre vegetable garden and apple orchard.
Damn.
And the weird thing was about this family, not only did it seem like single dad, single mother, they just had a lot of random rumors surrounding their background. They were known for being German immigrants, but there was really no documentation for them, or their relationships to one another either. Possibly only the male bender, so John and John Sr., John Jr., were born overseas. And they're not even sure if he was like from Germany or the Netherlands.
What's the difference?
Yeah,
I was gonna say at that
really,
point,
it's like
Come on.
different types of mustard or...
Yeah.
And it was also, Elvira may have not even been German at all. She may have been born somewhere near the Adirondack Mountains. And she actually had some rumors that she had married a bunch of times and had murdered all of her husbands.
Ooh, Black Widow.
Yeah.
That she had 12 children.
Ooh.
But when she...
Tell me, what's new about that? Like,
That's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And
You have them.
The ooh part is the fact that she only moved here to Kansas with one of those kids. So, like, what?
Yeah, I didn't even...
What the hell happened?
I would not
gotta
have even
eat.
Sow
Yeah.
them wild oats.
And some people even speculated that John and Kate, so the children, were actually another married couple. And they were just kind of saying that they were their kids, but they were actually this other younger couple that lived with John
Cohabitating,
Sr. Yes.
interage couples.
Like a hot stepdaughter, stepbrother.
This is way too 70s.
Yeah.
It's like 1970s, not 1870s.
Right, thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
As it was said, John Sr. and Elvira were in their like 50s, 60s, and everyone said they did not speak nor understand much English. And they really liked everyone to think that. And Elvira was described as a very unfriendly woman and sometimes called she-devil by neighbors. And her and John Sr. kind of kept themselves for the most part. However, John Jr. and Kate, their children, or just the younger couple that
Cool
lived
couple
with
that
them,
was just chilling.
This is so nuanced.
they said that they had an accent, but they spoke fluent English. They were known as friendly, charismatic, and very good-looking. However, sometimes John Jr. was, and this is what was quoted, he was talked about as being a nitwit.
All right.
You don't use that one enough
No,
nowadays.
you don't.
Freaking nitwit.
It's got some bite to it. too.
What a nitwit. And he would just laugh aimlessly.
I like that, though. That's charming.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a-
Somebody who's
At least
just
he's
got a
happy.
jack. Yeah, somebody who's just got kind of like a ha 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 ha.
It's better than just like screaming aimlessly.
Right.
It's like, better than that.
I was thinking like this like systemic depression of like, yeah.
Or just sigh, being the sad boy and just sighs.
Yeah,
like
just
him.
sad
Like,
boy.
Just emo kid sitting on the corner.
He was just like, ha 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 ha. Like,
The
that's
opposite of an
endearing to me.
overconfident fuck boy is sad boy.
Does it ever bother you that people who were clearly insane and couldn't speak English and came like are like, you know, able to procure 160 lands of like rural like Kansas and live this like really, what I would consider to be a lavish lifestyle if you've got that much land and a 2-acre vegetable garden and a fucking corral and all kinds of shit. Like,
because land was like $150 for 5 acres,
Man, we need to go back.
True. I know we do need to go back. People would just murder you, and there'd be no record.
We would be
Angela. People just murder you.
Well, she knows the story apparently.
Great time. All the unaccounted murders.
Spoiler alert.
Make America great again. Let's go back to that.
1870s
Everyone's got 150
rural
fucking
Kansas.
acres.
And they're just murdering the shit out of each other.
Murder all over the place.
Anyway, the traveling woman. No.
Call back.
Call back.
Damn, there's a thread, maybe.
Kate, who is the daughter or wife of John Jr., she considered herself a healer and psychic, and that's how she attracted people towards the inn. And she also promised she could just cure illnesses. We don't really know how. She also conducted seances and was known for her free love spiritualism. Less than a year after the Benders arrived, some very mysterious disappearances and horrific murders began to occur. First, there was a man named Jones, I'm assuming his last name, who had his skull crushed and his throat cut. And he was discovered in Drum Creek. So that was in 1871. So they bought this property in 1870. And by May of 1871, they found this guy with his skull crushed and throat cut.
Already.
Couldn't make it a year.
Then in February 1872, the bodies of 2 men were found who had the same injuries as the previous guy. So within 2 years of them moving on to this trail, people started avoiding that area altogether and try to find different ways to go to the west. I mean, that was kind of the reputation that that area.
You want to go down Skull Crush Trail?
Why is it named that? No bother.
This is like an
Good
early
luck.
version of Waze. Just let you know where to go. You don't want. You want to stay from there. There's a lot of skull crushing in that area.
Yes. Yeah, so, okay, Angela. Earlier, you were saying this was one of the main
This was one of the main
west.
ways to go west, and then within 2 years, people were like, "No, I'll find a different way."
So that was
traveling out to California and just heading west. That was one of the main. That was one of the known safe ways to get out there. And then all of a sudden, it was like, "No,
Nope.
your head's going to
It
explode."
went from Kansas Trail to
Yeah.
Skull Crush Throat Slitty Trail, and then everybody was like, "Nah, I'm not
No.
fucking
And then they're like,
We'll
"Have you
go
seen
around.
Blood River?" They're like, "I'm out."
going through Nebraska."
In the winter of 1872, so this is still within that 2 years of them buying this, George Lancourt and his daughter Mary Ann left Independence, Kansas,
Yes.
to resettle in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hawkeyes.
Oh, all right, go them.
Go them. Enthusiasm appreciated.
Go them sports.
Sports.
Sportsies.
Holy shit.
That's a fucking promo.
Sports.
That's a fucking promo.
That's tight.
Well, the sad thing is, these people were never seen again. So George,
The laugh in
Son
your
of a
voice doesn't make it
bitch.
sound so sad.
You hurt this
They were
bastard.
never seen again.
I hurt this bastard.
George and Marianne were never seen again. They happen to have a really good friend, though. Their neighbor, who lived in Independence, Kansas, Dr. William Henry York. He was like, I never heard back from them. Where did they go? So he went looking for them. And the sad thing is, Dr. York never returned home either. The other problem is, for the Benders at least, is that Dr. York had 2 brothers who were like, well,
Where the fuck's my
where
bro?
the hell's my
Yeah.
brother? And
Oh
so,
man, a brother's revenge. That's gotta be fucking cold.
and one of his brothers was a colonel.
Oh shit.
So he was just very intense.
It's
Colonel
on.
Ed York.
Motherfucker's name is Ed.
This is gonna be a
and-
Coen Brothers movie. You mark my
Oh
words.
yeah. Ooh.
And a Kansas State Senator, Alex York.
The other one was a senator,
Yeah.
a colonel, and a
Yes.
senator.
This fucking hornet's nest
Yeah.
is just alive right now.
You fucked with the wrong family, yo.
Yep.
So they were like, they knew his travel plans. He let them know, hey, I'm going to go find my neighbors. Never returned. So the York brothers were like, what the fuck? Colonel York gathered about 50 men
It's a posse.
and questioned every traveler along the trail and visited every single homestead in that area. So he arrived at the Bender's Inn. He asked about his brother. And they were honest. They said, yeah, he stayed with us, but maybe he ran into trouble with the Native Americans. And, Colonel York was like, sure, I guess that could happen since we just relocated all of them somewhere else. I bet they're kind of angry,
Classic fake news-ass bullshit.
However, he later returned to the inn with some armed men because he had been informed that a woman had fled from the inn after being threatened with knives by Elvira Bender.
Oh, okay.
So when they went to go question Elvira, she pretended she couldn't understand English, and they denied the claim. But all of a sudden, Elvira, who apparently couldn't understand English, all of a sudden started saying, oh, that woman's a witch. She cursed my coffee. And then she was like, get out of my house. So they were like, okay, so this woman knows way more English than we thought she could. And everything about her response and her reaction, they were like, oh, these people totally did something to all these people. But they didn't have any evidence. They could just tell, like, there's something up here. Neighboring communities around the area began to make accusations about Osage County, which is where they lived. They were like, everyone around here has been disappearing. Like, what's going on? And they kind of were blaming Osage County. So a meeting was arranged, and the Osage Township began, they had like 75 locals there, and including John Bender Sr. and John Bender Jr. So, like, the Bender men actually came to this meeting. And they were like, well, we're going to have a search warrant. And we're going to search every homestead from Big Hill Creek to Drum Creek. And no one knows where the hell that is, but so you have it.
Yes,
there you go.
there it is. Northeast of Cherryvale.
Do it up right.
The problem was, so these guys were at that meeting, and they made this big declaration. No one kept an eye on the Benders, and they all split.
Nice.
Oh,
Sneaky ass
classic. What's it called?
Okey doke.
I was about to say okey doke. I swear I was going to say okey doke.
The
It's
okey
a
doke.
classic okey doke.
The
As the
okey doke
scholars.
shit out of them.
Okay, doke.
It's like Sun Tzu. It's in the Art of War. It's the classic okey doke.
Keep your friends close and your enemies okey doke them.
Okey doked.
So it would have been about 3 days before anyone even noticed that these people had been gone. They abandoned other farm animals, they were all unfed, and also there was a bunch of bad weather, so the search had to be held off. But eventually a giant mob showed up, and the search party at the end began with Colonel York. He was like there. He's like, where's my brother? What's going on? Let's do this. So they get there, and the cabin was empty of food and personal belongings and had a really foul odor. Then they realized there was a trap door and clotted blood on the floor. So they realized there must be something in there. So they actually took all these men and, like, moved the entire cabin. They're like, there are bodies. We're moving the whole structure over.
Why did they just open the door? Why did they just open the trap door?
It's probably locked.
Well, it was a dumb move.
See?
Because there was nothing there. However, they started to explore the entire grounds around the cabin and the garden. And in the soil of the orchard, they found Dr. York's body, buried face down. And they found 9 graves, but it was getting dark, so they came back the next morning. They found 8 bodies in the 9 graves and a body in the well with a bunch of body parts. Every skull was bashed with what was assumed was a hammer.
Ooh.
And every throat was cut.
They double-tapped evering.
Exactly. I was
Everything.
going to say, come on.
The only one that didn't have any of these injuries was the body of a young girl. And but they suspected that maybe she had been strangled or buried alive.
Ugh. I think I'll take the strangling over the buried alive. I don't know.
State Senator Alex York said that's one of the brothers. What is so fucking funny?
About that, exactly.
Trying to think about would you have to be strangled or buried alive?
And having to have the labor decision, anyway.
And then both him and Kaz go,
That's a toughie.
so the next morning.
It just goes right into it like it's nothing.
I would say I'd rather be strangled.
horrible ways to
I'd rather-
die. It's like,
Instead
anyway.
of, yeah.
I'd rather be strangled than
Get
like
it
that
kind of
suffering of the buried alive
over
type of
quicker.
thing.
No, it was
I
great.
agree.
It
That
was
makes
fucking
sense.
great.
So a Kansas newspaper reported that a friend of the Benders named Brockman was, they were like hanging him from a beam in the inn until
What?
unconscious, and then kept reviving him and then hanging him and then reviving him, like
Oh my god.
Like what they did to Deadpool.
basically to get information out of
Spoilers.
him.
Holy
because
shit.
they were like, you're his friend, like what have you done? What's going on? Don't feel bad for this guy because he was arrested 23 years later for the rape and murder of his own daughter. So
Whoa!
he was kind of a piece of shit anyway.
Seems that way.
Yeah. Reporters from as far away as New York City and Chicago came when they heard about these murders. I mean, this is 1870, so it's like you got to.
Someone's got to get on a horse.
That
like,
is massive news.
Yeah, it is.
Someone's got to make a sojourn to fucking deliver this news.
That is that's a journey. It's a pilgrimage, really.
Oh God.
And the weird thing was too in 1870, it's like we've always been the way we are. The cabin was eventually destroyed by souvenir people. It's like
souvenir people.
Like the souvenir hunters were like, someone killed a lot of people here, and just like kind of.
I want this log.
We have always been horrible creatures. We've always been horrible
Yeah.
creatures.
Murderbilia.
Yep.
Memorabilia. Yep.
So that state senator, Alex York, so Dr. York's brother, he offered $1,000 reward, which in today's money would be about $20,000 for the Bender's family arrest. And then the governor actually offered $2,000, which was about $40,000, equivalents to 2019 money. There are some people who did escape from these people. And so based on some testimonials of people who had stayed at the inn and escaped, this is what was found to be the way in which they would attack and murder their people.
Oh, jeez.
The host would give the guest a seat of honor at the head of the table, which was positioned over the trapdoor.
Oh, my.
God.
And that was next to a curtain. So there would be this curtain that their back would be, that would be behind their back. And Kate, because she was cute and charismatic and attractive, she would distract people, talk to them. And then John and John Sr. would come from behind the curtain, open it up like, surprise, motherfucker, and then strike the guest on the right side of the skull with a hammer, and then the victim's throat was cut by one of the women.
So probably because he was right-handed? Is that why? Like, it was just like a ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I would assume on the right side, so yeah, must have been.
Yeah.
And then the body was dropped through the trap door, and that would go down to the cellar where they would kind of prep the body and they would strip it, take all their belongings, and then they would just bury the property in the orchard. And not every victim was wealthy, so they kind of just did this for
Thrill
fun.
kill.
Yeah, they just liked to do it.
That is always
so
fascinating me.
ordinary.
There is just a certain switch in the human brain where I just dig making people end.
Yeah.
I just dig seeing someone knowing that they're not around anymore and it's because of me. That I looked at someone and said, I don't want you to exist anymore. I get to do it, and then I get to go on with my day.
So a man named William Pickering said that when he had refused to sit near the wagon cloth because there were stains on it,
Ugh.
he was threatened by Kate with a knife. Another man, a Catholic priest, said he saw one of the Bender men concealing a large hammer, which made him feel a little uneasy.
Oh my fucking God!
So
yes.
he dipped.
Yeah, I'm done.
Two men went to the inn because Kate was she said she was a psychic reader and everything. Yeah. So they decided to stay for dinner, and they felt really uncomfortable sitting next to the cloth.
Oh, that's Claire
More psychic than
sentience,
Claire.
right? Claire sentience,
Yes,
I think.
Clairvoyance.
It's a sentience.
Claire.
Just spidey sense.
Airfield?
like something doesn't feel
Basically,
right.
just this ain't right.
Yep.
I don't like things behind.
I don't like to stand in front of bloodstained curtains.
Yeah, I don't even like
Just saying.
windows.
They ate their meal at the main shop because there was like the general store in the front. But Kate became very abusive towards them. And then all of a sudden, two the men just came out from behind the curtain. The Bendermen.
Bendermen.
And they were like, why were they back there? And they just kind of just like paid and left. Which probably saved their lives.
Yeah.
And then also when people were scouring the cabin, bullet holes were found like in the roof and the sides, which kind of meant like some people tried to fight for their life maybe and kind of
Like-
didn't get out.
Yeah, imagine having that sidearm like right between your legs with your your like left hand on it in case anything
This totally
is
is a
amiss.
Coen Brothers movie waiting
Yes.
to happen, by the way.
I'm
Right?
writing
No
notes, by
doubt.
the way. This is fucking
Someone
amazing.
get in touch with them.
No one really found these people, the Benders.
Are you
they
kidding
escaped.
me?
They
No one
got
really
away
found them.
completely.
They're still out there today.
There was a lot of
Or their descendants?
There were a lot of vigilantes that were like, oh, we got them, we killed them all. But they were like, but they never actually brought their bodies. So some people were just kind of claiming stuff, and no one was like,
Just
well,
to
you
give
didn't
people a
bring
false sense
them.
of
Roll
Right.
Kansas back
Bill,
in the
if
day.
you bring me antlers one more time and expect me to believe that's a pelvis, I'm going to punch you.
How can you look at antlers and go pelvis? I'm like,
I
no,
know.
I'm saying
Pelvis from antlers. Bill.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm not. I looked it up that one time.
I'm not, no.
You got me once.
I'm not a dummy.
I mean, there was some records of them like buying train tickets, but at some point, like the mom and dad kind of went off on their own, and then John and Kate went off on their own. And the news of the escape spread and searched everywhere, and there was like a search that continued on and off for like 50 years.
Jeez.
And unfortunately during that time, it's like if two women were ever seen traveling together, obviously they need to be asked if they're Elvira and Kate, even though people said like the husband and wife and then the other two went off. But it's like, you know, two women off on their own.
It's not weird. Unaccompanied.
Yeah,
what are you ladies doing?
Thumbs up.
So, yeah, guys, everything about this whole situation is making me feel very uneasy. Kansas doesn't really feel like home for me.
Never was a fan. Now I'm even less of a fan.
No.
It's terrible
Not a
stuff.
good situation.
They have good baseball.
You would care about the baseball.
I do care about the baseball.
I'm sure they've got
No, I
all this,
would, I do.
all the murdering, but the baseball's good.
Yes.
Like, murdering is one thing. Everyone's got murdering, but they don't have enough, like, kind of, you know, follow up on the murdering. Like, where's the like decent CSI and the people, the bounty hunters, and people that can track these down? Like, they're at large.
That's
you know
true.
what?
We don't even know where we are.
I
where
am
are
gonna run. I'm leaving.
You're done?
And-
Where are you
yeah,
going?
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Whoop, there he goes. Look at him go.
Oh, he's running.
Wow, he's got some speed, dude.
All right.
Deceptively fast.
He really is. And deceptively able to talk while running.
What's breathing exercises are you doing?
Cardio.
Maybe we should
Okay.
run.
Pilates.
Guys,
Should we go?
let's run.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, let's go.
Yes. Woo.
Ah,
right.
man. That keto's been really paying off.
And honestly, you guys telling the story and then having the crap scared out of you, that's like way better than regular ass TV, man. I think I'm gonna like this.
Are you eating sunflower seeds?
You got like a mouthful
sound
of
like a
something.
lot of
Did you eat
sunflower seeds.
an entire bird?
Oh.
Is it
Is it the regular?
Are you feeding a bird?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Is that a baby bird in your hand?
Those are seeds also that you're spitting out. Those aren't just the shells. You're like wasting a lot of
You
the
just
whole.
like
You're just
the
chewing it
salt?
up and spitting it out.
Just eat salt.
That's not how that works.
I think you guys run.
You are terrible at sunflower seeds.
Let's give this guy a bunch of walnuts and watch him die.
Hey! All right, do you think that's funny for our next act? Let's go somewhere truly terrifying. How about this? Texas, early 1990s.
No.
No. Come on.
Oh.
Oh,
Jeez.
it's a lot of wind
Christ.
sweeping.
Diesel and dust.
Okay.
Coffee dusty.
Oh, I feel like
Not
you gave me
helping us.
Even though
points.
you kind of already told us where we're going, I think I know where we're at. This is goddamn Texas.
This is not helping.
We're on the side of the road in Texas.
Oh.
Yeah,
Look at
but
this.
Texas is huge, man. That's like saying I'm in.
The side of the road
Africa.
in the worst place on earth.
Like you said, Texas.
Yeah. I hate Texas, you guys.
You haven't been
You've
to
never been a
Texas
fan.
then.
Born-
You've never been there.
Born and spent several years and driven all around it and visited many of its corners. And, you know, there's a couple good spots. You got a couple little places in Texas. But for the most part,
Like Marfa.
Marfa, like, it was like,
Oh.
Marfa.
It's the only place I have.
Marfa.
It's the only place I have a memory of that's not my memory.
Oh.
I didn't see any lights, though. It was just a dark-ass desert when I drove past Marfa. So, you know what? I didn't get much Marfa. Got some San Antonio. I got some El Paso. I got some Austin. I got some Dallas. And this is Dallas.
You can smell
I
it.
can smell Dallas.
Smell Dallas.
You can smell
what does Dallas smell like?
It smells
JR.
like disappointment.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I'm kind of picking that
Really?
up now.
You can just smell the kind of bleakness. Dallas, you know, not the best.
You're not a fan. You upgraded it
Okay.
from your last
All right.
assessment. That sounds way better.
Not exactly the best.
You're not good at Yelp.
I would say let's walk away from Dallas. Let's go out. This is the desert, and I don't necessarily fear death anymore. So let's go ahead and walk out
through the desert. What would
If
go
we
wrong
bore-
with walking
if we
through the desert?
bore Felix enough, he'll change us into some more, you know, entertaining kind of this. There's nothing in Dallas. We don't want to be in Dallas. Fuck Dallas, whatever. Like,
I'd rather go to a city than the desert.
Oh man, you guys
you
are
don't
totally
know
in,
Dallas. Clearly,
Okay,
you don't
yeah,
know
I've
Dallas.
Never been. I've never
Okay.
been.
You guys are totally in Dallas right now.
Oh.
Totally in Dallas.
He's gone full Dallas. Look.
What are you even doing?
Thinking about all my favorites.
He's got boots on. He's going to, oh, Jesus.
He's got on chaps, but no pants again.
Leave that cat alone, man.
Angel,
Watch a
no
Dallas
offense.
Cowboys
Shut
game.
You keep saying that, I'm kind of getting a little offended.
Drink
Well, I don't mean no offense.
Bud Light.
Yeah, I know you don't.
What is that?
Wait, whoa. All right.
You see that?
Yeah, that looks like a...
We've seen those before.
That's a body. That looks like a...
Oh, my
the body of
God.
something.
That's a
Not
body.
necessarily-
So cavalier about this.
Not even necessarily human.
Because we've come across like 28 bodies over the last 3 years, for God's
We've
sakes.
become quite seasoned in,
It's a low
crime
number,
scene.
Mandaddy.
Someone get my poking stick. I see a body. It's time to get a
You
poking.
should have your own poking stick.
There you go.
I said, someone hand me my
yeah.
poking stick.
There you go.
Right now,
I just
you
don't
should.
carry it myself. I have a caddy. I have a poking stick caddy, and it's you.
Okay, here's
Did you
your...
sign up for that?
I did not, but apparently here's your
Check
poking
your backpack.
stick. Yep, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
And
All
you
right.
haven't cleaned it.
Why would you?
Oh, there's like little pieces on it.
Yeah, those are my rewards.
All right, Mr. Poking Stick, get up there and let's poke this body and see what we can find out.
I'm all about it.
do
This is
that.
what,
Get up
this is
there.
what I live for.
Why
I
are
live
you
for
on
body
top
poking.
of the rib cage?
I'm here. I'm ready to poke, and I'm ready to
Get
go for
off
the
the
eyes.
rib cage.
And there's
Don't do that.
no eyes to poke. I want to poke the eyes, and it's a body. I want to poke the eyes. There's no eyes.
Eyeless corpse.
There's no fun. That's the best part of body poking right there. If you're gonna go for some body
I hear
poking, go
it's
for the
tasty
eyes.
too. The pig eyes.
Oh yeah.
You ever heard of that?
Eyes
Oh,
and
yeah.
cheeks.
Oh yeah, because that's where they
the
keep their
cheeks are the
smiles.
smiles. Exactly.
And
Everyone knows
the
that.
eyes are the windows
They're
to the
just full
soul.
of joy.
You like to eat some souls and smiles,
That's
eat
why
some
they're so
eyeballs and
sweet.
cheeks.
This is soul jelly. An eyeless corpse in the middle of Dallas.
That's stupid.
The Dallas desert.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you guys have never heard of Charles Albright. The Dallas Ripper, the Dallas Slasher, the Eyeball Killer.
Ooh, so he just
Ew.
kills
Ew.
eyeballs?
Well, that'll
It just
probably
kills
do
them
it.
eyeballs.
Once you kill the eyeball, the rest kind of goes. So the man's full name was Charles Frederick Albright. He was born in Amarillo, Texas, in 1933, and into an orphanage. He was adopted by Fred and Dell.
By Adele?
1933 Adele, which is way more harsh than nowadays Adele.
It was power violent.
So Fred was a grocer. His adopted dad was a grocer, and Dell was a school teacher. And according to the Texas Monthly feature on him, Dell was a very strict and sort of like a helicopter mom. She was always trying to figure out like what was going on. She insisted on like chaperoning him on his first dates, and
Ooh, too much, lady.
even to the point where she would dress him in women's clothing.
That is always a thing with killers. There's
Tied
always
him to the bed for like weird punishments to like ground him essentially. So like it was in an abusive. He was abused as a child. When he was 11, he showed an interest in taxidermy and then took to, ladies and gentlemen, the crowd,
Yeah.
killing small animals.
That's always that's next.
Piece
That's
of
next.
shit.
Yep.
So he would show up with dead birds and various, small rodents and things like that.
I have
And
two more in my mind, by the way. If he checks off on, then it's helpless.
So he, as a teenager, spent a couple months in prison for theft at one of his jobs. He was he liked to steal from places that he was employed at. And after his stint in jail, he joined the Arkansas State Teachers College, where he wanted to study anatomy.
No.
And with the intent of becoming a surgeon. According to the Texas Monthly article that came out on him, there was a strange prank where one of his ex-girlfriends started seeing pictures of her eyes that had been cut out of photographs, taped and pasted to different like walls in the area where she would see them.
Like a Steve Buscemi, but way before that.
Way creepier than Steve Buscemi.
She's got Steve Buscemi eyes.
But like,
So no.
she's being made to like worry about that
Right.
because just the eyes are showing up around campus, which
that's
is
very
very
specific and
unnerving and strange. Right? Like, thank you. So Charles Albright, actually, there's a couple of big like kind of 5-year stints where like nothing happened. Like he met some woman and had a daughter and got a job, and then 5 years later he pleaded guilty to sexually molesting a preteen daughter of the family that he had been the babysitter for through church. And then he only received probation for that. So 1985 Texas, well done. You fucked that up. So On the morning of December 13th, 1990, Dallas police found the body of 33-year-old sex worker Mary Lou Pratt dumped in a field naked to the waist. She had been beaten and shot in the back of the head. While performing the autopsy, medical examiners discovered that, and I'm quoting from this is from the actual Texas Monthly article. While performing the autopsy, medical examiners discovered that her eyes had been carefully removed, as if by a surgeon, some of the medical training. And they basically, one of the people who performed the autopsy was quoted to say, "The eyes are very delicate." And apparently they were removed perfectly. Almost 2 months later to the day, the body of 27-year-old sex worker Susan Beth Peterson was discovered on the same road. Likewise, she was found nearly nude, shot to the head, and her eyes had been meticulously removed. By that time, the media had gotten hold of the story, and the story of the Dallas Ripper, the Dallas Slasher, was already kind of out there, and they were, searching for him.
The ophthalmologist operator was immediately scratched in the. They're like, we can do better.
Flow.
We can do better. All right, let's kill her. There you go. Let's run with that.
A month later, in March, so this is February 10th, 91, and March 19th, 91, a naked body was found propped up against a tree on a residential street across from a grade school.
Ooh.
Shirley Williams, 45, had been
What's
shot
with
in the
displaying bodies? That is
What's with
another
even
thing.
doing any of this
Stunting.
shit?
But I'm saying these weird threads where they want people to see their work. They it's like either for the shock or the
presented.
art. And it's,
Kathy Scott, who we interviewed in season 1, said that's a part of stunting. They want people to feel the opposite of what they felt when they did it, which was just joy and ecstatic. That's like that next level shit. I want other people to feel just hatred and sorrow.
we are horrible creatures as human beings.
We really are.
Some of you motherfuckers are.
Kathy Scott, shout out.
What up, Kathy Scott?
Love you, Kathy.
Shirley Williams, 45, had been shot in the head, and the broken blade of an X-Acto knife was found embedded in the skin around her right eye. However, this was a sloppier removal from before. Police began interviewing various sex workers in the area and asking if there were any, rough johns, as they say, there were that anyone could report on. And a couple of women came forward and said that they had been attacked by a white man, South Dallas, near around the area where these killings were happening. And actually, one of the ladies was named Veronica Rodriguez. She claimed to have been nearly killed by a white man in South Dallas near the Mary Pruitt crime scene before fleeing to the house of a man later identified as Axton Scheindler. Scheindler rented a house from the deceased Fred Albright, which is how Charles Albright was eventually identified. A deputy recalled hearing his name on one of the reports, went out to interview, and someone said that they were his friend and had briefly dated him. And he was, quote-unquote, obsessed with eyes and had a large collection of X-Acto blades.
What?
Wow.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see
Move
here.
on. Hey, so I like going on adventures and going to the beach, and my favorite taco place is this, and also I have a large collection of X-Acto blades, and I really like eyes.
Ma'am, if you could tell us anything pertinent to this investigation,
Really
we would
huge
love to hear it.
boxes of X-Acto knives.
This guy's got a fucked up fucking Tinder account. Is
Exactly.
all.
That's it. That was, yeah.
Do you have beautiful eyes and love blades?
Well, if you can remember anything, reach out to us.
So they arrested him later that month, actually, March 22nd. He was living with his girlfriend, but he was, after interviewing several known sex workers in the area, he was known to all of them. He had a job as a newspaper delivery guy, so he'd be out like in the morning, getting popped off, I guess, and then the
Getting popped off as he do.
As the
like you
kids
do
say.
in Dallas in
Doing
the
it.
90s.
Doing it.
I got
Listen to
5
some
on it
Kid
on the
and Play,
radio.
I guess it was like
whatever's on then. Like it's probably Will Smith. So police then searched his home, found his stash of X-Acto knives, a copy of Grey's Anatomy, and at least a dozen.
Season 3.
And then they were able to match several of his hair fibers from those found on the crime scene. they never found any of the murder weapons or the missing eyeballs. So the case was largely, I guess, reported to be based on what do you call it? Circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
That the hairs were one thing. Maybe he was in the area. Something could have happened, but he was only charged on one of the killings for Shirley Williams. So the Pratt and Peterson murders, he was found not guilty of. However, because they knew he was a creepy fuck, they sentenced him to life in prison. He's currently incarcerated at the John Montfort Psychiatric Unit in Lubbock, Texas, and he is 85 years old. He maintains his innocence to this day. And he's still alive.
So this all took place in Dallas?
South Dallas, which, if you can even call that Dallas.
Dallas.
Wow.
It's not Dallas proper.
Dallas, what up?
Dallas has a huge sculpture of something related to this story. Does anyone want to...
Just a big guy's eye?
Huge eye.
Really? I threw that out there. I didn't know that.
A big eye?
Yes, there is a huge eyeball in Dallas, and I think it's to the south side of it because when you're flying out, you can kind of see it.
So how many total victims?
Three suspected, one convicted.
That's insane, dude.
But the MO was the same. They found, and honestly, I mean, come on. Like the guy had. That's the thing. We hit the things, right? Like abusive childhood. Fucking killing small animals as a child.
Fire.
Went to prison. Prison stints. He didn't do any fire. I don't think.
And also
probably, maybe
bedwetting
got caught up.
were my two that I didn't hear.
He was kleptomania,
Yeah.
or he got caught a couple
Impulse.
times trying to steal things from jobs that he had or whatever. So all the signs were there.
Yeah.
And
Bad seed.
clearly,
bad planted, poorly planted. I mean, when you the whole thing about dressing them up, little boys as
Just gotta
girls,
fuck 'em up.
and
But-
that's a constant thread with so many different serial killers. And now it's like it's all about you want your child to be who they are, but then they took the norm and flipped it. Now it's like that's
I
just
try
so
to
bizarre to me.
and I could never do it, and obviously, it's tough to even try to put yourself in that position. But I feel like if even if I knew now that happened to me and I blocked it out as a child, I would still kind of be maybe a little embarrassed by it, if even that. But I don't think it would drive me to want to kill and remove the eyeballs of things.
God,
That seems kind of more of a damn, Mom, that's kind of not even that cool that you did that. But you know what, whatever.
I'm not gonna go kill a bunch of people because of it.
Right.
Just gonna be
True
a little.
Detective season 3's on, and I'm not even caught up. I don't have time to kill people.
I got so much to do. I mean, sure, I'd love to kill a
I
few
gotta
here
watch
and there.
the man
but
who killed Hitler and the
It's a lot of
Bigfoot.
yeah,
Yeah, you do.
planning.
So we need to go. I'm done. I'm done with Texas again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can we
I was
please
done when
get
we got
out of
here.
here?
Time. It's
I know,
over
I
with.
didn't like
Fuck.
it from the beginning.
What is there to like?
It's Dallas.
San Antonio's not bad.
That's
Riverwalk.
Dallas.
I hear
kinda wet.
Austin's all really cool. And
Nah, not
Yeah.
anymore.
Bingo! I would tell you that. Where you're going, you won't need eyes, but we'll leave that for the sci-fi episode.
What? You have plans
Don't worry
for
about
us?
it. Don't worry about
There's
it.
more
baby.
episodes?
Shh.
Just get us out. But please just change the channel. I don't want to be. At least for whatever amount of time you're not going to be looking at the TV. Switch
Yeah.
to something more peaceful, like a meadow, Sound of Music.
Yeah,
It's late night. Some cinematics
More
get
of like
freaky.
a temperate climate.
It's
We
like
do the Von Tracks.
900 miles wide, right?
New Zealand or something.
Right.
Put it on the Food Network.
Put us
I'm
on Flight of the
hungry.
Conchords. Ooh, the
That'd
Food
be better.
Network.
Yeah, put us on Dinners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, man. I want to eat a burger the
I
size
kind
of
of
my
want to
face.
hang out with Ina Garden.
There you go.
Can
Let's
we
get barefoot.
hang out with Anthony Bourdain in the past?
Okay, shut up!
Wait.
Timelines.
Shut up! It has been a bear of a day, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to touch my feet and hit the old, hey, you cheese bags, stay fresh. Stay pretty little faces, mañana. I hear the desert gets cold at night, so stay warm.
What? Dude,
No, that's not even fair enough. Do you like worshiping the Lord, but want to keep some tight abs? Well, get them potatoes out your life and join us with Keto Christ. Send your body into Christosis with Keto Christ. Cauliflower on the crucifix all day long. Keto Christ, keeping you slim for the Lord.
holy fuck!
The cauliflower.
Holy fuck!